In the year 3000, a mutant mob boss named Ransik is having trouble taking over the world, because even in the future, there are Power Rangers there to stop evil. So Ransik and his gang of mutants and robots decide to travel back in time to the year 2001 and take over the world then because it would be easier. Ransik thought the Ranger teams of the 21st century were pussy, I guess. Even if that were true, Ransik was dumb to think he could time travel with no issues. The world in the year 3000 is protected by a police organization known as Time Force. Time Force has its own set of Ranger powers and time machines. It's kinda in the name. After Ransik killed the first Red Time Force Ranger and escaped to the past, 4 Time Force officers took a time ship and followed him. These officers became the Power Rangers Time Force, whose mission was to arrest Ransik and his gang of mutant thugs and bring them back to the year 3000. They also enlisted a rich boy from 2001 to become the new Red Ranger, Wesley Collins. And later a broke boy named Eric joined the team as the 6th Ranger. Eric put the ass in badass. Get it? Because he was an asshole. The team leader was Jen, the Pink Ranger, who was more determined to stop Ransik than anyone else because the Red Ranger that was killed was her fiance. Drama! Sup, you guys? ASD Classified here, a grown-ass man that loves Power Rangers, so I'm finally doing it. I'm finally talking about Time Force. It's insane to me that I've been a YouTuber since 2011, and I've probably only made one video about Time Force. Shame. Like this video if you like it and subscribe if you haven't already. Don't be hard-headed. Help a brother out. Time Force is one of the most beloved and respected seasons in the entire franchise, and for good reason. It got away with things that most seasons never could. Red Ranger Alex supposedly died in the first episode and is treated like a real death. His fiancée is hell-bent on getting revenge for him. The show touched on themes of prejudice and oppression. The villains exist because of bigotry. Yeah, it's sci-fi bigotry, discrimination against mutants and robots and aliens, but still! The 2 main villains have sympathetic backstories, especially Frax, and he does not get a happy ending. Wes's father was attacked by Ransik and almost died. And at one point, Wes thought his dad did die, and we briefly saw him grieve. They actually showed us a Ranger grieving the death of his parent. And on a hospital bed. This shit is just sad, man, and I love it. Eric, the 6th Ranger, was an asshole because he grew up poor and had to fight for every opportunity he had. Time Force is one of the most mature Power Ranger seasons, and I appreciate that more than ever after the very dumbed down seasons that came after 2009. It's a little ironic that despite the show touching on more mature subject matters, it's probably the most censored Power Ranger season. So let's talk about building explosions. So Time Force originally aired with building explosions in the episodes. Like most Power Ranger seasons at the time, many episodes had the villains show how much of a threat they were by destroying buildings with laser beams. After the US suffered an attack on its soil in 2001, specifically 2 buildings in New York, the Time Force episodes that aired were edited to remove all building explosions. They were replaced with mountains being shot at, cars exploding, or just random explosions. And the original masters with the explosions are gone forever. So any official release of the episodes on DVD or streaming will not be the original versions. It will always be the edited ones. It was rare to even see building explosions in the seasons that came after Time Force. And if you did, there would be dialogue to let you know those buildings were empty.
Then maybe this will keep you busy. Look out! Whoa!
Lucky no one was in that building.
As a kid, I hated this. I loved building explosions and felt they added to the threat level. As an adult, I get why they did it, but I am mad that the original masters are gone forever. Ugh. So Time Force is adapted from the Sentai Timeranger, and Time Force tones down a lot of what Timeranger did. Now, Time Force is not the first Power Ranger season to tone down what its Sentai counterpart did. However, Time Force is a pretty faithful adaptation of Timeranger, more so than most seasons that came out at that time. So when it makes changes, it stands out more. The Time Force villains are less evil than the Timeranger ones. The Power Ranger villains rob banks and they kidnap people. You know, that's some evil stuff. The Time Ranger villains murdered people. Murdered them by the hundreds, thousands. Time Ranger had an episode where the villain was running a fight club and extorting people. What kind of a kid show is this? It was a good episode though. Time Ranger had a villain suffering from a deadly disease, so he decided to spread it to as many people as possible so that they could all die together. What the fuck? Timeranger also killed one of his rangers. The 6th Ranger, Timefire, he dies. In Time Force, that doesn't happen. Eric lives. Now, I did not need Eric to die in Time Force. I think that would have upset me, actually. I did like Eric, so I didn't need him to die. But the Sentai counterpart, it went there. They killed off a ranger, okay? Alex's Sentai counterpart was a menace, okay? Like, what was that man's name? Was it Ryuya? Something like that. That man was a menace. He was one of the villains, which shocked the hell out of me when I watched Timeranger. I watched Timeranger this year. I like, wait a minute, this man is a villain who's actively manipulating the timeline to save his own skin. He was destined to die, and he manipulates the timeline to pass off the death to Timefire instead of him dying. And it didn't even matter anyway because he dies at the end too, and it was well deserved. So in Time Force, Alex is not evil. He had a moment where he was an asshole, but he got over that. But he's not evil. The Sentai counterpart, oh no. Dirtbag. So how do I feel about Time Force? It's a great season overall. It has one of the best premieres and one of the best finales. I do have to mention that I like the aesthetics of Time Force and the design, like their weaponries, their Zords. Time Force Megazord Mode Blue, Mode Red, the Time Shadow. I love that thing. I love when they combined it together, like Time Shadow, Megazord, whatever, Mode Blue or whatever. I loved all of that. I love their weapons, the little V-swords, the little V-guns. It's good stuff. It also has soap opera-like storylines, which I appreciate as someone who grew up watching soap operas and still watch them. And I also have a YouTube channel about soap operas. Look at these storylines. Wes's daddy issues. Wes and Eric's season-long dick measuring contest. Jen mourning the loss of Alex and seeking revenge. Then Jen falls in love with Wes, Alex's look-alike ancestor. Did I mention that Wes is Alex's look-alike ancestor? Amazing. Then Jen finds out that Alex is alive. Then she dumps Alex in the end, but she can't be with Wes because they live in different timelines. The sadness, the longing, beautiful. Despite never kissing and never actually being in a relationship, Jen and Wes are actually one of the top pairings in Power Rangers, second only to Tommy and Kim.
I love you too. I wish I could live another 1,000 years so we could be together again.
I appreciate all the dramatic plots that Time Force told and not treating kids like they're dumb. Thank you. But Time Force does have its flaws and no season is perfect. If you've been watching me for a while, you probably already know what my biggest issue is. Time travel. I hate time travel in any medium because time travel rarely makes sense, and in Power Rangers it never does. And Time Force is no exception to this. In episode 1 of this show, Ransik goes back in time to the year 2001. But couldn't the Time Force Rangers just travel back like a few minutes to stop Ransik from going back in time to begin with and stop him from even killing Alex? Or is that some type of time paradox nonsense? I don't know, man.
They're down with time travel and everything, right? Couldn't they take us back to the moment when Tommy was kidnapped?
But that's a nitpicky complaint. You know, if they did that, we wouldn't have a season. I don't really care. But this next one is not nitpicky, okay? They changed a lot in the year 2001. They changed a lot. But yet the year 3000 is exactly the same. What are you telling me right now? Outside of one Katie focused episode, no one was worried about how the future would be impacted by all the changes happening in the past. Thanks to this time travel nonsense, 2 people who were never supposed to become Power Rangers became Power Rangers. The Trizerium crystals, an energy source that humanity was not supposed to discover for like hundreds of years, they discovered now in the year 2001 because of time travel shenanigans. The Rame tank, or whatever the hell the name that tank was, it was never even supposed to exist, and it was only created because the city needed to defend itself now. The Silver Guardians, a private protection service, was created to protect the city as well. They never existed until this time travel nonsense. And you're telling me all of these changes did not change the year 3000 at all? I really hate that that one Katie focus episode is the only time that this issue came up, because it is a valid concern that you could go back to your own timeline and then your whole family is completely different. Everything's different. You don't know what this is anymore. That's a real valid concern, but just for one episode. I'll give you this though. One change to the timeline may be that Alex actually survived, okay? It is inferred that Alex really did die, but their time travel shenanigans is why he's alive now, right? I think the comic book even kind of made that the canon explanation as to why Alex is alive. Like, their time traveling shenanigans led to him surviving, but he was different, right? That was never actually said in the show, though. Like, that's comic books. So, yes, Power Rangers has comic books, if you didn't know. So, in the beginning of this season, only 4 Time Force officers travel back in time to stop Ransik. There's no other time ships. Are you kidding me? Time Force is in the future. It is a time-traveling organization, and they only had 1 time ship. They couldn't send no other backup. They could only send the Zords back in time to help. What? And then when Alex is revealed to be alive, he travels back to the year 2001 by himself. He couldn't bring backup. What? I'm sorry, this is dumb, and this honestly comes from the changes that they made to Timeranger. Because Japanese Alex was a villain, this makes a lot more sense. Right? But Alex in Power Rangers is not a villain, so they're just all being dumb. Why not bring as many Time Force officers as possible and just capture Ransik and end this shit? Like, whatever. The backstory for the 6 Ranger powers is absurd. The Quantum Power and the Zord were sent back in time on purpose in a time-traveling experiment back when Time Force didn't know what the hell they were doing. Are you serious? A giant T-Rex Megazord sent flying through the timeline. They lost track of it, and Time Force just shrugged his shoulders about that. Whoopsie doopsie. Are you serious? If you're going to experiment with time travel, why would the first thing you do is send a giant reptile back in time? They're lucky that Zord ended up in like the Jurassic period, right? If they sent the Quantosaurus Rex to like 1975, it would have been a wrap for all of us. Most of the characters this season are from the future, the year 3000, but there are no references in this season for past Power Ranger seasons. That's just weird to me. We have future Power Rangers, but they don't pay any respect to those that came before them. It's even more weird that we have seasons that came out after Time Force that have plenty of references to the past. Time Force was paying homage to the Matrix, but not its own franchise. Like, what is this? Ninja Storm had more references to the past than Time Force. I'm just gonna say it. It's weird to have a police-themed Power Ranger season. To me, Time Force is the first of 2 police-themed Power Ranger seasons. It's just weird that all of a sudden the Rangers care about not killing monsters and only arresting them because killing perps is wrong. 8 seasons of Rangers killing monsters without any hesitation, but now it's a problem in season 9. Now it's a moral dilemma. Like, I just don't get it. And Time Force also aired at the same time that Digimon Season 2 aired. And I was a big Digimon fan back then. And Digimon Season 2 also pulled this crap. In Season 1, the Digidestined killed Digimon all day long. And then in Season 2, it's wrong to kill Digimon. Like, get out of my face. So at this time, I'm going to do what I have done for the previous 8 seasons of Power Rangers, which is talk about what I believe to be the most iconic moment of Power Rangers Time Force. There are many iconic moments to choose from, some of which I've already mentioned. Alex's death in the first episode. That is iconic. The fact that the main villain may have killed a Power Ranger is iconic, and killed him in front of his fiance, and she had to say goodbye to him as he died in her arms. Amazing. Another iconic moment, Frax revealing his true identity to Ransik. Now I've made an entire video about Frax and his backstory. Let me tell you, the moment that he revealed who he really is to Ransik, like, oh, Ransik, we go way back, baby. We go way back. Like, I'm telling you, amazing. Frax is one of my favorite villains. I love him. I showed you kindness, and you showed me hatred. Ransik attacking Wes's dad. A powerful scene that showed that Mr. Collins loved his son and respected him, even if they didn't always get along. Movie Madness. There's a 2-parter called Movie Madness, and it's amazing. Like, the whole thing is iconic. It's a bit of a lie as well, but it's iconic. So in the 2-parter, the Rangers are trapped in movie dimensions, right? And they're playing different movie roles. Like, Jen was in a karate movie, Wes was in like a cowboy movie, like things like that, right? And it's awesome. However, they used to use footage of this and put it like in the opening theme song, like for Time Force, and it makes you think that the Rangers are time traveling to different eras, but that's not what happens. The Rangers barely time travel in Time Force, honestly. So the whole thing is just, they're trapped in a movie dimension. Like, they're not time traveling at all, like, but it's awesome. Episode 8 of Time Force, Jen's Revenge, is probably one of the most important episodes episodes of Time Force, it definitely solidifies Jen as a badass. Now, Jen was already a badass by episode 2, where she soloed 3 of the main villains by herself, but still. In Jen's revenge, Ransik sends a mutant to kill the Rangers, but this mutant has a history with Jen. You see, Jen and Alex once arrested this mutant, so this mutant brings that up and also says, oh, I heard that Ransik killed your boyfriend, he, wish I did it, you know, so he's mocking Jen, and it made Jen snap, and Jen now wants to kill this mutant, and the other Rangers are like, oh my gosh, Jen, you can't do that, you're Time Force, you're sworn to bring him alive, you know, all this nonsense, right? There's one line from Trip that bugs me when Jen first snapped and she started beating up that monster. Like, Trip was like, oh, what's gotten into Jen? Are you serious? You all were there when that monster was mocking Alex's death. What do you mean? What's gotten into Jen? Are you, what? You see, Trip, I see why Lucas bullies you, because what are you talking about? And you're an alien with mind-reading powers. You can't understand why Jen is snapped right now? But yeah, Jen spends the majority of that episode pissed off. She even goes on a solo mission to try to arrest Ransik by herself, and it's badass, and it's one of the most iconic moments of the season. I love watching her unmorph with just laser guns, shooting up the Cyclobots and stuff, and trying to beat up Ransik. She got her ass beat up instead, but you know, she has that dog in her. I appreciate the effort. At the end of the episode, Jen decides not to kill the monster. We're gonna go by the book on this one. We're gonna do what Alex would have wanted me to do and bring him in alive, you know, all that stuff. So, you know, they're cops. So. The finale of Time Force. The finale is a 3-parter, and I believe in part 2 is where Wes faces down like an army of Cyclobots by himself. And it's iconic to me. This is the moment where Wes is alone. I think Eric got hurt at this time. And then the other 4 Rangers, they've gone back to year 3000 on Alex's orders, right? So Wes is there alone. And Wes is destined to save the city himself, but he'll die in the process. So he's facing down these villains, knowing that's his destiny. And he still goes in and fight. That is a Power Ranger right there. And I love that moment. And then the other Rangers in the year 3000, they're like, you know, we can't stay here. We can't live our lives knowing that it cost Wes here. So they run back to get to a time ship and go back to the year 2001 and help Wes. I love it. Oh, that's iconic. But the most iconic moment of Time Force to me is also another moment from the Time Force finale, from part 3. The most iconic moment of Time Force is the final battle between the Rangers and Ransik. I'm sorry, that fight is excellent. It's one of the best fights in all the Power Rangers. Ransik completely dominates the Power Rangers. He completely dominates them. He whoops their asses so bad. It's amazing. And what I love most about this is that Ransik did not get some kind of insane power up. This is the power he always had, and he just beat their asses. The thing about Ransik is that he has a disability. He has an illness that holds him back a lot, but it didn't hold him back in this final fight. He unleashed on the Rangers and just dominated them. Now, Ransik took injuries himself, but in a fair fight, Ransik absolutely would have killed them in this finale. Jen had to sneak up on Ransik in the end of this episode to beat him, right? She shot him when he didn't expect it. That's how she won. And there's also the thing with the Naruto talk no jutsu that goes on in Time Force. Time Force actually has a lot of similarities to Naruto if you ever watched the anime.
Humans rejected your father and taught him to hate. It's a vicious cycle that never ends, Nadira!
Ransik and his daughter Nadira actually turned good by the end of this season, and it doesn't really feel natural. I can buy it more from Nadira, even though that comes out of nowhere too. I can buy it a little more than Nadira turns good in the finale. Ransik turning good at the end, I don't really buy. That man was evil throughout this entire season. Sympathetic backstory or not, the man was pure evil at this point. No, I don't really buy that he turned good at the end of this just because he almost killed his daughter at one point. He was trying to kill Jen and he ended up shooting his daughter by accident with an energy beam. And then he got so sad about that, you know, and he's like, oh my goodness, I'm so sorry. What have I become? Or something like that. And so he decides to turn his life around. After you done all the evil shit you've done throughout the entire season, you just got done killing Frax. Like, what? But aside from that, it's an excellent finale. Ransik goes down as one of the best villains in Power Rangers, especially for that fight alone. So that's the most iconic moment to me. If you're watching this video, let me know what you think about Time Force. Do you like it? Do you hate it? Do niggas muh? Let me know in the comment if you be so kind. Like the video if you liked it, subscribe if you haven't already. Alright, later guys. Jamata. Your time's up!
My mission is to bring you back. And I promise